You've tuned in to the GFree and Happy Show tonight. I have a special guest, Amanda Bryant, who is a registered dietitian, and we're going to be talking about, do you ever wonder how safe a hospital visit would be? We're going to talk to her about her training and some of the answers to that, so stay tuned. Welcome to the GFree and Happy Show that happens every Monday night at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern. I'm your host, Kathy, and I have been gluten-free for 4 years and counting. So my guest tonight is Amanda Bryant. She's a registered dietitian, and her degree is the coolest degree ever, if you ask me. It's on food science and nutrition. How cool is that? Such a nerd about this, but she came over a little bit ago and I talked her ears off, and she had so much information that I asked her to be on the show tonight because actually it was eye-opening for me. She's worked in hospitals and she has training, and I wanted to hear and share it with you what gluten-free, allergies, celiac, all that good stuff, what kind of training dietitians have now, registered dietitians have nowadays. So we'll be talking to Amanda in just a few minutes. But first, episode 37 of the GFree and Happy Show is brought to you by Ovali TV. Ovali TV hosts and produces live video events built to meet your objective. Visit Ovali TV to request a free 30-minute consultation today to find out more about going live with your brand. And I also want to give a shout out to my favorite drink besides wine is Kavita. Kavita.com. If you go on there, you can check out all their yummy flavors. It's a sparkling probiotic. It helps everybody that is trying to heal their stomach like me. It's a nice alternative to a soda pop in the afternoon. It's healthy, happy, and what else can I say? It's $1 off if you print this out. I'm constantly handing out coupons at the store nowadays because I've got a purse full of them, because I want everybody to try the Kavita at least once. So check it out and try one today. So without further ado, let's get Amanda on. Wow, I went through that really fast so I can get you on the show. I'm so excited. I am such a nutritional nerd now. That's all my lifestyle is all about, getting healthy. And when you came over not too long ago, I think I probably bugged the heck out of you.
Oh, I love it though.
It's so nice to have you. I've known Amanda for years, so it's fun to have you on my show tonight. Thanks for joining. And why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
All right. It's nice to see you, Kathy.
Yes.
As Kathy mentioned, I'm a registered dietitian, and I have been for about 5 years now. I received my diploma and undergraduate degree at Central Washington University, and then I moved on to my internship in Georgia, where I completed a 10-month program to where I could then sit for the registered dietitian examination and have then further improved, obtained oncology certification, and then also just furthering my knowledge of, overall nutrition and the diet needs of many people. So it's a lot of information to learn.
And you're such a young person to have all that information. And what are you currently working at or with? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so it's been about 8 or 9 months that I took a new position with home services. So my main focus are patients that are on either short-term or long-term tube feedings, or what's called IV nutrition. And so I kind of handle the more of the complicated, complex patients that require a different form of nutrition than what most people might think.
So do you come up, see, I've asked you these things. So do you come up with like the formula for these people? Do they give you like what they're allergic to and things like that for this?
Yeah. So even patients that are on tube feedings, there's formulas that different manufacturers produce that we use, but they're all formulated for different ingredients to kind of meet the needs of patients with allergens and intolerances. So there are a lot of formulas that I try to use and tweak to, make the patient's nutrition and quality of life optimal.
Do they have reactions to tube feedings like that?
They can, yeah. A lot of the ingredients are commonly, corn derived or soy derived.
Yeah. And that's probably a lot of the base of most of these, right?
It is, because when you're thinking of a formula, it has to come from some kind of a carbohydrate source, and it's usually a corn-derived carbohydrate, a protein source, and the fat source. So it's hard sometimes when patients have a lot of allergies.
Okay, so now I want to ask you about the corn. See, I'm such a nerd about this, but so the corn, what do you do if they have a reaction to corn? What do you give them?
It gets really challenging. We have very few patients that have a very sensitive corn allergy. There are some formulas that might have a lower corn-derived ingredient to where we can try to make it work. But if we have one patient that is just highly sensitive, so she can't use any of our commercialized formulas.
So do you create your own then? Ooh, are you a scientist with in the lab?
She makes her own. You can use real food ingredients and blend them and put them down a tube. So, somebody with that high or severity of an allergy or intolerance would probably opt for that type of nutrition.
And I'm curious, do you put kale in many of these mixes?
Well, I don't personally.
No, not you.
Yeah, but if you're doing these at home and they want to add that, they very well could.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So we're done with that part, at least right now, because I want to ask you, what kind of schooling do you need to be a registered dietitian first?
Yeah, so you do have to complete, a Bachelor of Science degree, a 4-year degree, and then you have to be accepted into an internship. And the only way that you can sit for the examination is to complete an internship. So there's a few steps to go through in order to even take the examination. Okay,
so every time I talk to you, because Amanda grew up right where, we are, but every time I talk to her, she's got that Atlanta. So tell us where you went to get your internship.
I was in Georgia, in Augusta, Georgia, and I did my internship through University Hospital. Augusta is quite the hospital epicenter. And so we got a lot of hands-on, skill and knowledge training with the wide array of facilities that were available for us.
And is that how you, by the way, I wanted to ask you last time, so are you eating healthier now, learning all this stuff? Is your lifestyle different from just, doing the training and going through this?
Yeah, I always have a fairly healthy, and I still eat, what.
I remember what you ate after school.
So I'm definitely, you could say I've become a lot more conscientious, but I definitely, try to do what I'm telling people to do and I'm asking people to do. I do like to eat my 5 servings of fruits and vegetables a day. You try to drink enough water, get your fiber, so I do, do what I'm trying to tell people.
Okay, well, that's good to know. Now, yes. I want to ask you one of the most important questions for me. Being gluten-free, because if I have gluten-free, if I digest it, I'm in trouble. And right. Many of my viewers and followers are the same way. So, and a lot of my online friends are celiac too.
Mm-hmm.
The only way to be tested for celiac is if you go back to the wheat diet, and I'm never doing that. So why don't you tell us how much training you actually had about the gluten lifestyle? I don't say diet either. I say lifestyle because this is not a diet to me. Gluten-free, celiac. Did they mention food allergies? I'm assuming they mentioned peanut allergies too.
Allergies and any kind of food intolerances are taken very seriously. And as far as the training that I had, I actually did a newsletter article for one of the rotations that I was in about celiac disease and what it is, how it's diagnosed, and what foods are omitted from that diet. So we do have to be trained in what different disease and nutrition impact symptoms that we may come across, because being in a hospital setting, you get all sorts of different patients that come in who have allergies or food intolerances, who are maybe being first diagnosed in a hospital and they had no idea. So we're having to actually educate them, to inform them of the foods that they should either avoid or stay away from. So the training is throughout the whole internship on any kind of intolerances in regards to food.
And everybody has to have the internship, like you said. Now, if you went back to the college time when you're doing the degree in food science and nutrition, did they mention it? Is it in books?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. We try to touch bases on a lot of different nutrition related diseases or symptoms, that can warrant our need of involvement, so we do touch on a lot of that even in college. Okay. Because you take a lot of nutrition courses and chemistry and biology, so we do touch a lot on
chemistry and biology. Real fast on that subject, are you talking like little molecules and stuff? What is the chemistry biology part of it? I'm just curious.
That's just one of the requisites to having any kind of nutrition, food and nutrition degree. We had to have some kind of chemistry. I don't actually apply the molecular level to my everyday.
I was just wondering. Okay.
It's just a part of it, but we do get to learn about, it could be fundamentally helpful, but not in everyday use.
Okay. Because I could see you using beakers and all sorts of fun things. All right. So the next question would be that I think is very important too is say we had to go to the hospital. There's a few incidents I'm thinking of, like people having babies. I would assume they've probably talked to somebody and kind of know, because you have plenty of time to figure out what kind of food served during your stay. So people that have surgeries too, do you go to a dietitian at the hospital? Okay, first we'll do that one. So if it's a planned stay,
right,
can you talk to someone?
Yeah, if it's a planned stay, you're being admitted to the hospital. Usually, there's always going to be a nurse that admits a patient, and they go through a whole admission screen, and that's where they capture allergies or any food intolerances. And so that gets charted, and then every hospital has a different system, and how they chart and how they direct that information to, the kitchen staff. But from my hospital knowledge, from what our system was, is it was put into the actual system that went directly to the kitchen staff. So then they can print off an allergy list daily. So they were aware, of what patients had allergies or food intolerances, and could note that for when they would obtain food selections.
That's a good point, and thank you for that. Probably a readout of all the patients coming in that they know about that have a dietary need. So I can't even imagine. We just showed a few of the pictures of foods from the hospital, and it looks kind of like gravy with mush. So when you're a celiac, they give you raw salad and...
No, food has come such a long ways in a hospital. It's going to vary from hospital to hospital, but they have improved, and depending on whether the hospital contracts with a different company, can, vary too. So, it depends on where you were at, but the hospital that I was at in Georgia, we were improving the food selection, year after year, every single time that we could try to revise the menu, to meet the needs of the patients. They're our customers.
So do you get feedback from your customers too?
Absolutely.
So that would change. Yeah, I would think that would be a big, yeah. Okay.
So feedback is important. So, if you're a patient at a hospital, it's important to give that feedback, to let, your voice can matter.
And that's a big thing for us that have food allergies or celiac or whatever, peanut allergies. You've got to let people know. Otherwise, who knows what you'll eat. All right, so the next question I wanted to ask you, for the people that don't know that they're going to stay, how safe, we're going into this, how safe is the care facilities and hospitals that you know of that are cross-contamination kind of thing?
Now, are you talking cross-contaminate just in the food?
Yeah, I know people that if they just inhale flour, they have reactions. So how is that handled in the hospital?
Yeah, so, every kitchen, in any kind of facility, they're going to have guidelines. They're going to have HACCP guidelines.
The HACCP guideline?
Yes, HACCP.
Okay. I didn't know about that.
Yeah, it's a guideline that's used to help pinpoint any kind of critical control point that might, be an at-risk point in the process of food preparation. So to say from start to finish, from production with the food to delivery, temperature, time that it's been sitting out, or using a knife with a raw ingredient to the same knife using a fresh ingredient. So you always have those control points to try to help reduce the risk of any cross-contamination.
I'm curious, how do you say, is it HASP?
It's HACCP. So it stands for Hazard Analysis Critical Control Point.
That sounds like a really good thing to have.
Yeah, so they're very, aware of potential cross-contamination. And if we do get a patient that has a highly severe allergy of any kind or food intolerance, that, we take special note to make sure that their food is not prepared on the same area as other ingredients that they're having an allergic to.
So it would be safe to say that if I went into the hospital, I'm not going to, but if I went into the hospital tonight, somebody would take good care of me.
Yeah. The point is initial communication to get it started. And once you've got it voiced, then the facility will treat that very seriously, because if you kind of induce any kind of allergic reaction or food intolerance, that's not what they want. They want to, try to get you out of the hospital healthy, not create more problems.
I am curious about people that hold, this kind of situation that we're talking about would be really cool if you did have like an allergy card in your wallet or whatever, if you're not with a loved one or whatever. Okay. I think that would be a really great thing to carry. And I think I will. I think I'll carry one at Gluten Away, Taylor. I'm going. No, but he actually has cards, so I need to buy one of those. That's so smart. I have it. Yes. Yeah. Okay, so that's really good news. I thought I'd be gluten the minute I went into a hospital, because I never hear about these things. And when I searched on Google, there was things from 2009. So thanks for updating us on that. And so the last question I have is the number one request for a dietary need. What did you have?
Well, I was thinking about that, and with the area that I work in, I don't really see it being probably the majority of the population. But as far as, thinking about most people, gluten-free is honestly one of the hot topics right now. You see it everywhere.
Yes, you do.
And so it's almost, and I hate to say it, but it almost has become somewhat of a fad.
Yes, and that is a huge debate on Twitter and social media right now.
So it's unfortunate that people have taken it, to a fad diet when it is a serious, diet that most people, like you said, it's a lifestyle change, and it, if you have to avoid it in order to have a healthy life.
Kenny is saying in chat, fad, and questioning it. I mean, who in their right mind would actually say, I'm not going to eat gluten today? I mean, for the heck of it. But it is a big deal.
Uh-huh. And it's unfortunate that it's also become a big marketing tool, to market your business or company as having gluten-free products, and maybe they're not gearing that towards what its intent is for. They're looking at it to get people to come to their business or wherever whatever their corporation is.
I'm just going to put out there that one time I stopped having, what was that diet that I tried? It was Atkins. Mm-hmm. My daughter Jen and I tried Atkins for a while. I got rid of all these things, and not too long after that, I was gluten-free. I mean, I couldn't have gluten. So if you take away things like gluten, it's almost a given that your body's gonna react at some point. I don't want this anymore. So Be careful when you do this fad diet.
Yeah. And if you don't need to follow it, gluten, it's a protein in, the wheat, barley, and rye. So if you don't have an allergen to it, there's no need to eliminate it because it's a healthy food ingredient. It's just some people can't
tolerate it. Big time. Can't stand the word wheat.
Yeah.
You have been so helpful tonight. Thank you so much. And usually I ask my guests at this time, where can we find you? But you're not anywhere on social media.
I know.
Okay, so I went on your Facebook page today, and I got a picture of you in the mud with your husband and some friends. What were you doing?
We did a mud run challenge.
Oh, nice.
And it was a 5-mile obstacle course, essentially. And you would get to the point where your whole body is under muddy water.
I could see you doing that.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, but we were covered in mud.
Sounds like fun, Amanda.
It was fun.
So the next time, I might be calling you again and doing the show because you're so helpful. So thank you again for being a guest.
Welcome. Thank you.
Oh, that was fun. Thanks again for watching tonight. Next week, I have the sweet, I want to get her name, Casey Cromwell, and you can follow her at College Celiac Casey on Twitter. She's on Instagram too, but she's going to college this year, and she's going to give us her top 10 GFree products next week. So stay tuned for that. Until next Monday. Check me out at gfreeandhappy.com. I'm on Pinterest, YouTube, iTunes, you name it, I'm on it. Check that out and sign up for my email newsletter. Until next week, have a great GFree and Happy week.